It's a wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Wizards of the Coast is looking to legally silence every member of the new Commander Rules Committee, restricting what they can say even after they have left the Commander Rules Committee. This will actually last for the entirety of their lives.
Magic. I am a wizard! History. I'm an old wizard! The magic historian. My bones hurt.
Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. My friends, I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for another glorious installment of Mega Magic News. Today we're going to be discussing what Wizards of the Coast is doing with the new Commander Rules Committee, and it's pretty wild. Before we dive into that, just want to let you know I have a brand new YouTube channel that is about reviewing movies. So if you want to check out some fun times and some bad times movie-wise, I will leave a link for that channel down in the description below and in the pinned comment, and I would absolutely love it if you went over there and checked it out and also subscribed because it really helps out new channels. The other thing I want to mention is Duskmorn Omniscience drafts are happening on Arena. And if you've never done an Omniscience draft, they're absolutely amazing. Some people don't know this, but I play Magic pretty much every day. And I will be playing Duskmorn Omniscience drafts over on Arena on my live stream channel today. So if you want to be a part of the fun, come on by. I will leave that link as well pinned down in the comment for you too. Now, let us dive in to the main news of the day. Take a look at this tweet that was publicly posted by Genomancer. It says, looking for input. The vendor contract for the commander panel includes a surviving non-disparagement clause, which means it limits what I can say about them forever, even if the contract ends. I don't mind the non-disclosure, but I'm uncomfortable with it in perpetuity. Thoughts? And then you can see as well at the bottom, curiously, it says that it was tweeted from Earth, which is a fun little twist, I suppose. Maybe we're going to be getting tweets from Mars. I don't know why they've included that on Twitter, but they're making a lot of weird changes over on that platform. So basically, what's going on here is Wizards of the Coast is making anybody who signs up to be part of their new Rules Committee Commander panel sign a contract saying they will not disparage them for the rest of their lives. And disparagement is talking negatively, in case you're not familiar with the whole legalese that's used here. But essentially it's saying, hey, you can't smack talk Wizards of the Coast, you can't smack talk Magic in any way, shape, or form, right? We haven't seen the entire contract. Obviously, that was not posted on Twitter, so it's not like we know the exact wording, but it's very clear from this that there is a surviving clause that says, hey, even if this contract ends, this clause still applies to you, which means 10 years down the road, you could say something like, I don't like this decision about Commander. That's it. And that could be considered disparaging. And if you're thinking to yourself, well, hold on. Like, is anything legal going to happen over a clause that small? Well, I'll point you to what recently happened with Disney, where a woman literally went to one of their restaurants. She had an allergic reaction that was the fault of the restaurant. And then because she had signed up for Disney Plus, Disney basically went with the legal argument that she signed up this contract here on Disney Plus for the television movie stuff, saying she would never take legal action against us. So even though she died in our restaurant, we are not responsible for this situation because she signed a contract saying she would never take legal action against us. So this is how big corporations view contracts like this, which absolutely means something as simple as going, Wizards has made a dumb choice, could literally equal legal action. And you have to understand as well, you might think, well, who cares? It'll just get thrown out in court. At the end of the day, these can be used as a bludgeon to beat people down. Just the cost of hiring a lawyer, ongoing court fees, having to make court appearances, all of that costs money. And guess what? Hasbro has big expensive lawyers that they let Wizards of the Coast use. So it would be very easy to turn around and say, hey, let's sue him. Let's cause tons of financial damage to him. It doesn't matter if we lose. It doesn't matter if it gets thrown out in court. We can massively stress out this individual. We can put them under financial duress, essentially. So this is ultimately a bludgeon that can be used for the rest of that person's existence. Do you live another 50 years? Better not let us see you say anything negative about our game in any way. And there's no way around this particular clause in the contract. The next tweet goes on to say, hey, this applies to literally everybody who's signing up for this. So you absolutely have to sign this if you want to be a part of the Commander panel, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me, considering that Wizards of the Coast is asking these people to help them out. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be 100% real. I don't think that Wizards of the Coast internal panel is actually going to have any real power at all, right? Look at what happened with Legacy. They have somebody in the company who is literally their Legacy expert. And they said, yo, you need to ban grief. Grief is a huge problem for Legacy. And Wizards is like, what's that about grief? We should put it in Modern Horizons 3 as a special guest? You got it. So they don't listen to the people inside their own company. And going on with the new setup for Commander, Wizards is never going to do another ban in Commander again. They're just going to put them up in the top tier, right? Oh no, these cards are tier 4. So you're basically signing a contract that says, oh, I can never have a problem with anything Wizards does publicly. I can never state anything that might be considered disparaging. And this isn't the first instance of Wizards of the Coast attempting to muzzle people. Ever since the situation with Jerry T, Wizards of the Coast has been like, yo, how do we stop people from saying what we don't want them to say? So, if you're not familiar with what I mean when I say the Jerry T situation, he is a pro Magic player who essentially basically ducked out of a big level event. He didn't show up, and at the last second, he put out this big statement decrying what Wizards was doing and calling them out for all of their garbage. And because of that, it got a whole bunch of publicity and attention. And Wizards was very embarrassed by that. The way that they handled the Pro Tour situation was nightmarish, as they kept slashing things down and trying to portray it as this big thing while constantly taking away from it. And then when they instituted the Pro Tour on Arena after they had pretty much gutted the whole physical tour, which ultimately turned out to be very, very bad for them. They're in an attempt right now to try and rebuild it to kind of salvage the damage that they've done to Standard and Paper Magic overall. But regardless, when they actually created the Arena Pro League, first of all, they spent no time telling us how you could join it. There was no way you could actually figure out how to get on the Pro Tour. But you know what they did do? They made sure to write in every player's contract saying, yo, you're not allowed to disparage us and what we do. And if you do, we can fine you. We can literally charge you money. Forget about being sued. We can literally charge you, and you're agreeing to this. The same kind of stuff that they do with the pro football players and stuff like that, saying, hey, if you behave in particular ways, we'll fine you. But this wasn't about actually just trying to create good sportsmanship or manage the game effectively. It was literally created as a muzzle to stop people from talking. So as far as I understand, the Pro Tour contracts did not say you can't disparage Wizards of the Coast for the rest of your life, but this new Commander setup does. And guess what? It doesn't have the same level of glamour as being on the Pro Tour does, not even close. So you have this situation where these individuals, I'm not even sure if Wizards of the Coast is paying them. This might be an unpaid position where you literally have to sign away your rights to dissent against anything Wizards does for the rest of your life in perpetuity. That is absolutely mind-blowing. And guess what? The two examples we've just given, Commander and the Pro Tour, aren't the only examples of Wizards of the Coast attempting to muzzle people. I don't know how many of you heard about it, but Strictly Better Magic was offered to be part of the Magic Ambassadors program, which is essentially the replacement for the content creator program Wizards of the Coast used to have, where they have hand-selected a whole bunch of different individuals, invited them in, and then they provide them early access to products and things like that. But the reason that Strictly Better said, I don't want anything to do with this, is because he had to sign, you guessed it, a non-disclosure agreement. Now, let's be very clear. There's nothing wrong with non-disclosure agreements in and of themselves. Companies needing to protect corporate secrets before they get released, things like that, that makes sense. It's like, yo, if we give you access to this product in advance for you to make videos and get all your ducks in a row, you're not allowed to tell anybody about any of this stuff until we give you the official release date. I myself have been asked by different companies to not reveal something ahead of time. In fact, Wizards of the Coast sent me a secret layer once and said, hey, we don't want this to get revealed until this date. And I said, okay, no problem. And then when somebody else accidentally or maybe intentionally showed it off before they were supposed to, I asked, hey, can I show this early? And I got the, no, we still want you to stay with the date we were given. I had the exact same thing happen with Keyforge. So it's pretty standard practice to be asked, hey, can you keep this under wraps until we actually release it? And I fully understand that. But these non-disclosure agreements go beyond that, at least the one for Commander. I don't know how deep the one for the Magic Ambassador program goes, but the idea is they want to keep you muzzled. They want to make sure you don't talk about what you're not supposed to talk about. And with the Magic Ambassador program, they give you a contact. This is the person that you can ask questions to. But as far as I'm concerned, essentially, it's a leash holder. Their plan is to make sure that you walk the line, and if you don't, they boot you out, right? So all of the ambassadors are under a similar contract, but I didn't hear anything about it surviving in perpetuity. So this new Commander setup one is absolutely crazy. Wizards of the Coast is way more focused on controlling what people are saying and making sure, like obviously in Wizards' ideal dream world, they would set it up where it's like, if you're making Magic content of any form whatsoever, you're literally not allowed to say anything negative about us or we'll sue you into oblivion. But at the same time, they can't even keep control of their own product. Remember, we had that leak of the secret layers for the Marvel stuff. There was a whole bunch of them. Somebody swiped a bunch of secret layers, including the Chucky one. And when I told you guys that we only saw the face cards from those secret layers, that was absolutely correct. It turns out each of those was a full-on secret layer. That stuff was revealed last night. And like I said, I actually have reviewed all of that. It's over on my live stream channel for you to check out. And the Storm secret layer is pretty sweet. There's some funky cards in it. But I don't want to get too far aside from actually what we're here to talk about. Wizards of the Coast is not to be trusted. So, obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but when it comes to something like this, as far as I'm concerned, this is absolutely a bludgeon that they can use against anybody who signs up to be a part of this if they say anything at all negative about Wizards of the Coast or Magic the Gathering. And I can't see how it would be worth it to join this panel if it turns out that, yo, you've got these legal restrictions on you and you're dealing with a company that is not really going to care about your opinions. If it comes down to anything that they think, yo, we're going to make money selling this, and you go, I don't think it's a good idea, shut up, your voice doesn't matter. Look at the One Ring from Lord of the Rings, for example. Normally, when it comes to banning stuff, Wizards of the Coast says, hey, you know what? This card is in too many decks, so because it's messing up the format, it's too ubiquitous, we're going to go ahead and ban this card. It happens to colorless cards all the time. But people were clamoring for a ban for the One Ring, saying it's in way too many decks, and Wizards of the Coast in their ban announcement said, yo, we're paying attention to the One Ring situation. We know it's in a lot of decks, but we're not going to ban it because it can go in even more decks. That's literally what they said. underlying subtext, guess what? We've got the Lord of the Rings license. We're still selling this stuff. So suck rocks, big boy, because we're not doing anything about it except trying to sell it to more people. And that ban announcement's still up. You can go and read it for yourself and see that Wizards of the Coast literally said the reason they're not banning it is because even more decks can use it. So to me, joining up for something like this just gives you legal ramifications that can affect you for the entirety of your life. What do you got to do? Wait until you're on your deathbed and go, oh, I really hated the decisions that Wizards made. Like, that's absolutely wild. And what real reward do you get out of it? That you get to influence Commander? Is Wizards of the Coast going to listen to you? I highly doubt it. So that's the news for today. Like I said, I will be live streaming Omniscience drafts of Duskmourn over on my other channel. My arena account is loaded down. I have 500,000 gold, so I can draft for infinity. And if you haven't tried that kind of drafting out, give it a shot. Some people love it, some people hate it. I adore Omniscience drafts. So thanks for coming by and hearing what I have to say. Go check out my movie review channel. I will see you all next time. And a big thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. You guys rule. Bye for now.